Jiho Park looked out at the stars through the main window of his ship. The research vessel Harmony's Edge moved slowly through space near the Kepler 442 system. For 3 months, his team had been studying old alien ruins on dead planets. It was quiet work, but Jiho liked it that way. "Commander Park, we found something interesting on the surface, Mao," said Dr. Minji Choi over the radio. She was down on the planet with 2 other scientists, looking at some strange metal structures that might be thousands of years old. Jiho smiled. Minji always got excited about old alien things. "What did you find, Doctor?" "These ruins are not like anything we have seen before. The metal is still working after all this time, and there are symbols that look like they might be some kind of warning." Daeho Kim, the ship's engineer, looked up from his computer. "Commander, I am getting some strange readings from the edge of the system. Looks like ships, but they are not human ships." Jiho felt his stomach get tight. They were far from human space, but they had permission to be here. All the known alien races had agreed that this area was free for anyone to explore. "How many ships, Daeho?" "At least 20, big ones. And they are coming straight for us." Yuna Lee, who handled all the ship's communications, started working at her station. "Should I try to contact them, Commander?" "Yes. Send them our research permit and tell them we are here peacefully." Yuna typed quickly on her keyboard. "Sending now, sir." They waited. The alien ships kept coming closer. Jiho could see them on the main screen now. They looked like giant metal spiders with long, sharp legs sticking out from their sides. Each ship was easily 10 times bigger than the Harmony's Edge. "Commander," Yuna said quietly. "They are responding." "Put it on the main speaker." A harsh, clicking voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel. This is War Prince ThatHFY of the Velkari Empire. You will surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded." Jiho stepped forward. "This is Commander Jiho Park of the human research vessel Harmony's Edge. We are here under galactic law for peaceful research." "We have all the proper permits," the alien voice laughed. It sounded like glass breaking. "Humans, you weak creatures think you can travel the stars like real beings. Your time is over. The Velkari Empire claims this system and all human ships in it. We have done nothing wrong," Jiho said, trying to stay calm. "We are just scientists." "You exist," ThatHFY said. "That is wrong enough. Surrender now or be destroyed." Jiho looked at his crew. Daeho was already working on the engines. Yuna had her hand ready over the emergency beacon. They all knew what this meant. The Velkari were a warrior race that the humans had only heard about in stories. They lived far away and had never talked to humans before. "I cannot surrender my ship and crew without cause," Jiho said. "We request safe passage out of the system." "You request nothing," ThatHFY screamed. "You are insects. You will learn why the galaxy fears the Velkari." The communication cut off. On the screen, the alien ship spread out into attack formation. Jiho could see weapon ports opening on their hulls like hungry mouths. "Daeho, can we run?" "Not fast enough, sir." "They are much faster than us. Yuna, send an emergency message to Earth Command. Tell them what happened here. Tell them the Velkari attacked without warning." "Yes, sir." Jiho called down to the planet. "Minji, get your team to the shuttle right now. We are leaving." "But Commander, we just found—" "Now, Doctor." "That is an order." On the main screen, the Velkari ships were getting very close. Jiho could see energy building up in their weapons. He had seen videos of what Velkari plasma cannons could do to ships. The Harmony's Edge had no weapons and very weak shields. They were a research ship, not a warship. "Minji, how long until you reach the shuttle?" 2 minutes, Commander." They did not have 2 minutes. The first Velkari ship fired. A bright green beam hit the Harmony's Edge and shook the whole ship. Lights went out and came back on. The smell of burning electronics filled the air. "Shields down to 30%, Jiho reported. More beams hit them. The ship shook harder each time." Jiho held onto his chair and watched his instruments. They were going to die here, and there was nothing he could do about it. "Commander," Yuna called out. "The shuttle is taking off from the planet." On the screen, Jiho could see the small shuttle racing up from the planet's surface. But the Velkari had seen it too. 2 of their ships turned toward the shuttle and fired. The shuttle exploded in a ball of fire and metal. Minji and her team were gone. Jiho closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, more plasma beams were hitting his ship. The bridge was getting dark as systems failed one by one. "Yuna, is the message ready?" "Yes, sir." "Waiting for your order." Another hit. This one was bad. The ship's main power went out and emergency lights came on. Jiho could hear air leaking somewhere. They had maybe 1 minute before the ship broke apart completely. Send it, he said. Yuna pressed the button. Across space, faster than light, a message raced toward Earth. It was simple and short. Emergency. This is research vessel Harmony's Edge. Unprovoked attack by Velkari Empire ships at Kepler 442. No warning given. Ship destroyed. Crew killed. Tell command they started this war. The last thing Jiho saw was ThatHFY's spider-like ship firing one final shot. The bridge exploded around him. Far away, other ships watched the attack. The HFY were a small alien race that served the Velkari Empire. They had been ordered to watch and record the destruction of the human ship. Their captain, a nervous creature named Pigtail, made sure his cameras caught everything. When it was over, Pigtail sent his recording to the Galactic Information Network. Within hours, every major alien government had seen the footage. The Velkari had destroyed a peaceful human research ship without warning. Most aliens were not surprised. The Velkari were known for being violent and proud. On his command ship, War Prince ThatHFY was happy. The destruction of the human ship had been easy and clean. He sent a message to his father, the Velkari Emperor. Father, the first human ship has been destroyed. They died like insects, just as we expected. I will now move to claim their colonies as you ordered. The humans will learn that the galaxy belongs to the strong, not the weak. Fleet Commander ThatHFY's older brother, was already moving toward human space with 200 Velkari warships. Their first targets were 3 human colonies, New Busan, Haven's Rest, and Prosperity Station. The colonies had small defense forces, but nothing that could stop a real Velkari fleet. ThatHFY was confident. Humans were soft creatures who preferred talking to fighting. They would probably surrender as soon as they saw the Velkari ships, and if they did not surrender, they would die quickly. The Velkari Empire had fought many wars against many different alien races. They always won. Their ships were fast and their weapons were powerful. More important, they were not afraid to use those weapons. Other races feared them, and fear made them weak. As the Velkari fleets moved toward human space, the galaxy watched and waited. Some aliens felt sorry for the humans. Others thought the humans had been foolish to travel so far from their home. But most just watched to see how quickly the Velkari would win. No one thought about what the humans might do in response. No one imagined that the quiet, peaceful researchers who studied old ruins and traded with friendly aliens might be something else entirely. No one suspected that humanity had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. In the ruins that Minji Choi had been studying, the ancient warning symbols glowed softly in the dark. If anyone had been there to translate them, they would have read, "Beware the sleeping ones. When they wake, worlds will burn." But there was no one left to read the warning. The Velkari had made sure of that. Admiral Seungwon. Oh was drinking coffee in his office when the emergency message arrived. It was 3:47 in the morning, Earth time. He had been working late, reading reports about trade agreements and colony supplies. Normal, peaceful things. The message changed everything. "Sir," his aide said, running into the office. "Priority 1 emergency from the outer systems." Seungwon took the datapad and read it quickly. His coffee got cold as he read the message from the Harmony's Edge 3 more times. Each time the words stayed the same. Unprovoked attack. Velkari Empire. Crew killed. They started this war. "Wake everyone," he said quietly. "All department heads. Emergency meeting in War Room 1. Now." Within 30 minutes, the most important people in Human Defense Command were sitting around a large table. General Suman Kang looked angry. Admiral Wan Ho Jung looked worried. Dr. Yoonji Nam, who ran the Strategic Warfare Division, looked like she had been expecting this call for years. "Show them the message," Seungwon said. The message played on the big screen. Jiho Park's last words filled the room. When it finished, everyone was quiet for a long moment. "How many casualties?" General Kang asked. 43 people on the Harmony's Edge. 3 more on the shuttle that tried to escape from the planet's surface. All dead. And we are sure this was unprovoked? The HFY were there watching. They recorded everything and sent it to the Galactic Network. The Velkari attacked without warning. Jiho tried to talk to them peacefully. Admiral Young leaned forward. "What do we know about Velkari military strength?" Dr. Nam opened her tablet. 200 years ago, they conquered the Methek coalition in 6 months. 50 years ago, they destroyed the Grayan Republic in 8 weeks. They have approximately 4,000 warships, all heavily armed. Their technology is about equal to ours, but they have more experience in large wars. Recommendations? Song-hwan asked. Surrender, Admiral Jung said. We cannot fight the entire Velkari Empire. We have maybe 800 ships total, and most of those are exploration vessels or colony defense ships. We have 50 real warships. They have 4,000. General Kang shook her head. We cannot surrender. If we give up now, every alien race in the galaxy will think humans are weak. We will never be safe again. We are not safe now, Jung said. At least if we surrender, most of our people will live. Dr. Nam had been quiet during this discussion. Now she spoke up. There is a third option. Everyone looked at her. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes. She had been working for Human Defense Command for 30 years. But most people did not know exactly what she did in the Strategic Warfare Division. The protocol, she said. Seung-won felt his blood get cold. He knew about the protocol, but he had hoped they would never need to use it. Are you sure? The Velkari attacked civilians without warning. They killed researchers who were following galactic law. They have already announced they are moving to attack our colonies. Under the rules we set up 200 years ago, this activates the protocol automatically. Admiral Jung looked confused. What protocol? What are you talking about? Seung-won looked around the table. These people had served with him for years, but only 3 of them knew about humanity's real preparations for war. Dr. Nam, please explain. Yoonji Nam stood up and walked to the big screen. When humans first traveled to the stars, we asked ourselves a question. What would we do if we met alien races that wanted to destroy us? We decided that any species violent enough to attack humans without cause was too dangerous to be allowed to continue existing. She pressed a button, and the screen showed a star map of human space. For the last 200 years, every human ship that left our solar system has had 2 missions. The first mission was whatever they told everyone about. Exploration, trade, research, diplomacy. The second mission was to prepare for war. The star map changed. Now it showed red dots scattered across the galaxy, far from any human colonies. These are the locations of the Silent Fleet. 200 stealth dreadnoughts hidden in dark space waiting for activation orders. Each ship has enough firepower to destroy a planet. Admiral Jung stared at the screen. 200 dreadnoughts? How is that possible? Where did we get the resources to build them? We have been building them slowly for 2 centuries, Dr. Nam said. Every colony ship that left Earth carried mining equipment and industrial robots. When they reached their destinations, they built the colonies everyone knew about. But they also built secret shipyards in asteroid fields and on dead moons. The screen changed again. Project Prometheus. In the last 50 years, humans have placed planet cracker devices on or near every major world in Velkari space. They look like mining equipment or research stations. No one suspects that they are actually weapons capable of breaking apart entire planets. General Kang was starting to smile. What else? The Sleeper Network. We have humans living in 47 different alien civilizations. They have been there for decades, learning languages, making friends, getting jobs in governments and militaries. Everyone thinks they are traitors, diplomats, or researchers. Really, they are spies and saboteurs. The screen showed pictures of humans living normal lives on alien worlds. Some were married to aliens. Some had children who were half-human. All of them looked peaceful and friendly. When they get the activation signal, they will begin destroying their host civilizations from the inside. Communication networks, power systems, food production, military computers. Everything will break down at the same time. Dr. Nam sat back down. Finally, there is Biological Protocol 7. For the last century, human scientists have been secretly studying the biology of every known alien race. We have created diseases designed specifically for each species. The Velkari version will not kill them, but it will blind them permanently. Since they depend on their vision for everything, blind Velkari cannot fight. The room was completely quiet. Admiral Jung looked like he was going to be sick. We have been planning to commit genocide for 200 years? No, Seung-won said. We have been planning to defend ourselves. The protocol only activates if aliens attack us first. If everyone had stayed peaceful, none of these weapons would ever have been used. But now the Velkari have attacked us, General Kang said. So we use everything. Dr. Nam nodded. The protocol requires a unanimous vote from the Defense Command Council. All 5 members must agree. Seung-won looked around the table. Dr. Nam had already made her position clear. General Kang was obviously ready for war. Admiral Jung still looked worried, but he was thinking. The other 2 council members, Director Hyun-Soo Lim of Intelligence and Director Boram Yu of Colonial Affairs, had been quiet. Director Lim? Seung-hwan asked. Hyun-soo Lim was a thin man who rarely showed emotion. Our agents in Valkyrie space report that their fleets are already moving toward New Busan, Haven's Rest and Prosperity Station. They plan to attack the colonies tomorrow. If we are going to act, it must be now. Director Yu. Bornham Yu was responsible for the safety of all human colonies. 50,000 people live on those 3 colonies. Most of them are families with children. The Valkyrie will not show mercy to civilians. I vote yes, Admiral Jung. Jung was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. I became a soldier to protect human lives. If this is the only way to do that, then I vote yes. General Kang? Yes, obviously yes. Seung-hwan looked at each of them one more time. Dr. Nam? Yes. Then it is unanimous. The protocol is activated. He pressed a button on the table. Computer, record this vote for the official log. At 04:23 Earth Standard Time, the Defense Command Council unanimously authorized total war protocol against the Valkyrie Empire and all allied species. The computer's voice was calm and emotionless. Total war protocol authorized, sending activation signals to all units. Across the galaxy, things began to change. On hidden ships floating in dark space, human crews woke up and began warming up their weapons. On alien worlds, humans who had lived peaceful lives for decades quietly opened secret storage rooms and took out tools of war. In laboratories on Earth, scientists began loading biological weapons into delivery systems. Seung-hwan stood up and walked to the recording station. I need to make an announcement that will be broadcast across the galaxy. He sat down in front of the camera and thought about what to say. When he was ready, he looked directly into the lens. This is Admiral Seung-hwan Oh of Human Defense Command. This message is directed to the Valkyrie Empire and to all species who believe that humans are weak and defenseless. Today, your forces attacked and destroyed a peaceful research vessel. You killed 46 humans who had done nothing wrong except exist in the same galaxy as you. You have announced your intention to attack human colonies and kill human families. He paused and let his anger show in his voice. You started this war. Now we will show you why that was a mistake. Fleet Commander ThatHFY felt very good about himself as his ships moved toward human space. His fleet of 200 Valkyrie warships was the largest military force in this part of the galaxy. The humans had nothing that could stop them. Commander, we will reach the first human colony in 6 hours, his navigation officer reported. Good. Remember, we take prisoners only if they surrender immediately. Anyone who resists dies. ThatHFY had fought in 12 wars during his long career. He had conquered 6 different alien races. Humans would be easy compared to the others. They were soft, weak creatures who spent their time studying old rocks and trying to make friends with everyone. They would probably cry when they saw his ships. His communication officer looked up from her station. Sir, we are getting reports from our scout ships. Strange readings near the edge of the system. What kind of readings? Unknown. The scouts report that their sensors are detecting something, but when they look directly at the location, nothing is there. ThatHFY was not worried. Human technology was far behind Valkyrie technology. They probably had some kind of primitive stealth system that was not working properly. Tell the scouts to ignore it and continue toward the colonies. Yes, sir. But 1 hour later, the communication officer had bad news. Commander, we have lost contact with Scout Group Alpha. What do you mean, lost contact? Their signals just stopped. No distress calls, no warnings. They were there one moment and gone the next. ThatHFY frowned. That was strange, but not impossible. Space was dangerous. Ships sometimes had accidents. Send Scout Group Beta to investigate. Already done, sir. But we lost contact with them too. 30 minutes ago. Now ThatHFY was starting to worry. 2 scout groups lost in 2 hours was not normal. Send a full squadron to investigate, and tell them to broadcast everything they see back to us. The squadron of 12 Valkyrie ships moved toward the area where the scouts had disappeared. ThatHFY watched their progress on his main screen. They reached the location where Scout Group Alpha had been and began searching. This is Squadron Leader ThatHFY, came the voice over the radio. We are at the target coordinates. No sign of our scout ships. No debris, no energy signatures. It is like they just vanished. Keep looking, ThatHFY ordered. Sir, we are detecting some kind of strange energy pattern. It seems to be moving around us, but we cannot get a clear reading on. The transmission cut off. On the main screen, ThatHFY watched 12 red dots disappear all at once. What just happened? He demanded. His sensor officer was working frantically at her station. "I do not know, sir. One moment they were there, the next moment they were gone. No explosions, no energy discharges, nothing." ThatHFY felt cold fear in his stomach. In all his years of war, he had never seen anything like this. Ships did not just vanish without a trace. "Change course. Take us away from that area, and get me a communication link to War Prince ThatHFY immediately." But when they tried to contact ThatHFY's ship, there was no answer. The communication officer tried again and again. Finally, she looked up with fear in her eyes. "Sir, we cannot reach the War Prince. His ship is not responding." "What about the rest of his fleet?" "No response from anyone, sir. It is like they are all gone." ThatHFY stood up from his command chair. This was impossible. ThatHFY had 50 ships with him. 50 of the finest warships in the Velkari fleet. They could not all be destroyed without anyone seeing what happened. "Sir," his sensor officer called out. New contacts appearing on our screens. Human ships directly ahead of us. ThatHFY looked at the main display. 20 human ships had appeared from nowhere. They were not like any human ships he had seen before. These were long, dark vessels with strange angles and weapon ports that glowed with blue energy. The lead human ship sent a communication. A human face appeared on the screen. It was a young man with dark hair and calm eyes. "This is Lieutenant MistakeHFY of the Human Defense Force. You are Velkari Fleet Commander ThatHFY. We have been waiting for you." ThatHFY found his voice. "Human, you will surrender immediately or be destroyed." The human smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "I think you misunderstand the situation, Fleet Commander. Look around you." ThatHFY's sensor officer was making strange noises. "Sir, there are more human ships appearing. Hundreds of them. They are surrounding us completely." On the screen, human ships materialized out of empty space like ghosts becoming solid. They came from above, below, and all sides. Each ship was sleek and deadly looking, with weapons that hummed with power. "Where did they come from?" ThatHFY whispered. "We have been here all along," Lieutenant Cho said. "We have been watching you, studying you, learning everything about you. Did you really think humans would travel the galaxy for 200 years without preparing for war? This is impossible. Our intelligence report said humans had maybe 50 warships. Your intelligence was looking at what we wanted you to see. Would you like to know what else your intelligence missed?" The human ships began to move. They were fast, much faster than Velkari ships. They darted around ThatHFY's fleet like insects, but these insects had stingers that could kill. "Sir, they are targeting our weapon systems," the tactical officer reported. "Very precise shots. They are not trying to destroy us, just disable us." ThatHFY watched in horror as blue beams from the human ships sliced through his fleet's weapons like they were made of paper. Velkari shields, which could stop the most powerful alien weapons, offered no protection at all. "How are their weapons cutting through our shields?" "Unknown, sir. It is like our shields are not even there." Lieutenant Cho's voice came over the radio again. "Fleet Commander, order your ships to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that continues to resist will be destroyed." "Never!" ThatHFY screamed. "Velkari do not surrender to inferior species." "Very well." One of ThatHFY's ships, the heavy cruiser Blade of Honor, tried to fire its main cannon at a human vessel. The human ship moved out of the way so fast it seemed to teleport. Then it fired back. A single blue beam hit the Blade of Honor and the entire ship exploded in a ball of white fire. "All ships power down immediately," ThatHFY ordered. He was beaten, and he knew it. As human boarding parties took control of his ships, ThatHFY tried to understand what had happened. The humans had been hiding an entire fleet in this system. They had weapons that could cut through Velkari shields like they did not exist. They had been watching and waiting for the Velkari to attack. But the worst part was still coming. On Velkari worlds across the Empire, humans who had lived there for decades were revealing their true purpose. Youngji Song had been a peaceful trader on the Velkari colony world of Kethmar for 15 years. She was married to a Velkari merchant and had 2 children. Everyone thought she was just another human trying to make a living far from home. When the activation signal reached her, Youngji kissed her children goodbye and went to work. She had memorized the location of every important computer system on Kethmar: the power grid, the communication network, the food distribution system, the hospital computers. All of them had small devices hidden inside them. Devices that Youngji had been installing slowly over the years. She pressed a button on a small device she carried, and all across Kethmar the devices activated. Power plants shut down. Communication towers stopped working. The computers that controlled the colony's food production began deleting important data. Within 2 hours, Kethmar was in complete chaos. The Velkari garrison tried to restore order, but they could not fix systems they did not understand, and every time they thought they had repaired something, it broke again. The same thing was happening on 40 other Velkari worlds. Humans who had seemed harmless and friendly were destroying entire civilizations from the inside. Ji-Hun Lee had been working as a diplomatic aide to the Rothek government for 12 years. The Rothek trusted him completely. He had access to their military communication networks and their defense computers. When his activation signal came, Ji-Hun uploaded a virus into the Rothek defense network. The virus was designed specifically for Rothek computer systems. It spread through their entire military network in minutes, deleting files, changing passwords, and sending false orders to their ships. By the time the Rothek realized what was happening, their entire fleet was scattered across space following orders that made no sense. Ships were heading to empty systems or trying to land on planets with no landing facilities. But the most terrible weapon was still to come. Dr. Yoonji Nam stood in a laboratory deep under the Earth, watching as automated systems loaded biological weapons into delivery capsules. These capsules would be launched from hidden facilities and would reach Velkari space in days. The weapon inside each capsule was a virus designed specifically for Velkari biology. It would not kill them, but it would attack the crystal structures in their eyes that allowed them to see. A blind Velkari was helpless. They could not fight, could not work, could barely survive. Launch sequence initiated, the computer announced. Across Earth, hidden launch facilities opened. Hundreds of small capsules shot out into space, too small and fast for anyone to detect. They would reach Velkari worlds in 3 days and release their cargo into the atmosphere. The Velkari Empire, which had seemed so strong and proud just hours before, was falling apart. Their fleets were destroyed or captured. Their Kola War Prince Thekamar was no longer the proud warrior who had destroyed the human research ship. He sat in the darkness of his prison cell, his crystal eyes clouded and useless. The human virus had reached his ship 3 days ago. Now he could see nothing but gray shadows. Around him, he could hear other Velkari prisoners crying and calling out in fear. They bumped into walls and each other, trying to find their way in a world that had suddenly gone dark. The humans had not killed them, but they had taken away the thing that mattered most to a Velkari, their sight. War Prince, came a voice from the cell next to his. It was his communications officer, Veltar. The humans are coming. Thekamar heard footsteps in the corridor outside. Heavy human boots walking with purpose. A door opened and he heard human voices speaking in their strange, soft language. War Prince Thekmar, said a human voice in perfect Velkari. My name is Major Seojun An. I need to speak with you. Thekamar tried to stand up straight, but without his sight he lost his balance and fell against the wall. Have you come to kill me, human? No. I have come to offer you a choice. The cell door opened. Thekamar heard the human step inside. He could smell the alien scent of human skin and the metal of human weapons. Your empire is finished, Major An said. Your fleets are destroyed. Your colonies are in chaos. Your people are blind and helpless, but they are still alive. Why? Thekamar asked. Why did you not kill us all? We would have killed you. Because we are not you, the Major said simply. We do not kill unless we have to. But make no mistake, if you had continued to fight, we would have destroyed every Velkari world in the galaxy. Thekamar felt something strange. It was not fear. He had already felt all the fear he could feel. It was confusion. What do you want from me? Your people need a leader, someone to help them accept their new situation. Your father, the Emperor, is dead. Your brother Zethkor is in prison on Earth. You are the highest-ranking Velkari left alive. I am blind. I am useless, and you are alive. That is more than most Velkari military leaders can say right now. Major An sat down in the cell. Thekmar could hear the human's armor settling. War Prince, let me tell you what has happened to your empire in the last 3 weeks. The Major's voice was calm and factual, like he was reading a report. But every word was like a knife in Thekmar's heart. Your main fleet at Velkoth was destroyed by human stealth ships. No survivors. Your second fleet at Mordek was captured intact. The crews are in prison camps, but they are being treated well. Your third fleet tried to retreat to the outer territories. We hunted them down and destroyed them ship by ship. Thekmar said nothing. He had commanded some of those ships. Good warriors, all of them. Now they were dead or captured. Your colonies are all under human control now. We are providing food and medical care to the civilian populations. The virus that blinded your people can be cured, but only with human medicine. We are treating everyone who asks for help. Why? ThatHFY asked again. Why are you helping people who tried to destroy you? Because we are not monsters, Major An said. We do not make war on civilians. We do not punish children for the crimes of their leaders. The Major stood up. Your sister Kathyari has agreed to work with us. She is helping to organize food distribution on the homeworld. She says that Velkari civilians should not suffer for the mistakes of the military. ThatHFY knew his sister. She was smarter than he was and less proud. If she thought cooperation was the right choice, then maybe it was. What do you want me to do? Help us restore order. Help your people understand that the war is over, and that cooperation is their only chance for survival. In return, we will begin providing the medicine that can restore your sight. ThatHFY thought about this. His pride told him to refuse, to die rather than serve the enemies of his people. But his people were suffering, and his pride had already caused enough damage. If I do this, what happens to the Velkari Empire? There is no Velkari Empire anymore, Major An said gently. There are Velkari people living on Velkari worlds under human protection. If they behave peacefully, they will be allowed to govern themselves. If they cause trouble, they will be removed. It was a hard truth, but it was truth. The empire was gone. The question now was whether the Velkari people would survive. I will do it, ThatHFY said quietly. Major An walked to the cell door. Thank you, War Prince. A medical team will be here soon to begin treating your eyes. The process takes several weeks, but you will see again. As the human left, ThatHFY sat in his cell and thought about how everything had changed. 3 weeks ago, he had been a prince of a mighty empire. He had commanded fleets and conquered worlds. Now he was a prisoner begging for medicine from the species he had tried to destroy. But the strangest part was how the humans were acting. They had won a complete victory, but they were not acting like conquerors. They were providing food to hungry Velkari. They were treating wounded Velkari soldiers. They were offering to cure the blindness they had caused. ThatHFY had fought against many different alien races during his career. When the Velkari won, they enslaved the survivors or killed them. When other races won, they usually did the same thing. But the humans were different. They seemed to actually care about the welfare of their enemies. It was confusing and frightening in a way that warfare was not. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other alien races were watching what had happened to the Velkari Empire and trying to understand what it meant. The ThatHFY government was in complete panic. Their entire military computer network was still not working properly after the human virus attack. Ships were lost, communications were down, and no one knew what orders were real and what orders were fake. Captain Pictel, who had recorded the destruction of the human research ship, was now trying to contact Earth to surrender his entire species. He had seen what humans could do when they were angry, and he did not want the ThatHFY to suffer the same fate as the Velkari. This is Captain Pictel of the ThatHFY Union. He broadcast toward human space. We wish to formally apologize for our involvement in the attack on your research vessel. We were following Velkari orders, but that is no excuse. We surrender unconditionally and request mercy for our people. The response came back within hours. It was from Admiral Seung-Hwan-Oh himself. Captain Pictel, your apology is accepted. The ThatHFY Union will be placed under human protection. Your ships will be escorted to designated areas where they will be safe. Any ThatHFY colony that requests assistance will receive it. We do not punish those who were forced to serve our enemies. Pictel could hardly believe what he was hearing. The humans were offering protection to a species that had helped their enemies. It made no sense from a military perspective, but Pictel was grateful anyway. Similar messages were being sent from dozens of other alien governments. The Mythic Coalition, which had been conquered by the Velkari 200 years ago, sent a message thanking the humans for freeing them. The Greyan survivors, scattered across the galaxy since their republic was destroyed, began asking if they could return to their homeworlds under human protection. But the most important message came from the Galactic Council itself. Chancellor Morvek of the Council had been watching the destruction of the Velkari Empire with growing fear. The humans had revealed themselves to be far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Their hidden fleets, their sabotage networks, their biological weapons. It was clear that they had been preparing for galactic war for centuries. Emergency Council Session. Morvek announced. All member species are required to attend. We must discuss the human situation immediately. When the council met, the debate was fierce. Some species wanted to form an alliance against the humans before they became too powerful. Others wanted to surrender immediately and hope for mercy. A few suggested trying to negotiate some kind of peace treaty. But the debate ended when Admiral O sent a message to the council. Honorable delegates, the message said, humanity has no desire to conquer the galaxy or rule over other species. We want only to be left in peace. However, we will not tolerate unprovoked attacks on human ships or colonies. Any species that threatens humanity will be treated the same way we treated the Velkari Empire. The message paused, and then Admiral O's voice became harder. We have agents and weapons positioned near every major alien world in the galaxy. We have detailed plans for the conquest or destruction of every known species. These preparations were made for defensive purposes, but they can be used offensively if necessary. Another pause. Choose wisely. Others have learned the cost of choosing poorly. The council session ended with no formal vote, but the result was clear. No one wanted to fight the humans. The Velkari Empire had been the strongest military power in the galaxy, and the humans had destroyed it in 3 weeks without losing a single ship. From now on, the galaxy would be a very different place. The humans were no longer the peaceful explorers and traders that everyone had thought they were. They were apex predators who had been pretending to be prey, and now everyone knew it. These were in chaos. 6 months after the Velkari Empire fell, the galaxy was a very different place. Admiral Shunghwan O stood on the bridge of the Terran Harmony, humanity's newest and largest ship. Through the main window, he could see hundreds of other vessels, human ships, former Velkari ships, Rothek vessels, and ships from dozens of other species. They were all gathered at the space station called New Geneva, which had been built specifically for this moment. Today, the new Galactic Council would meet for the first time, but this would not be like the old council, where every species pretended to be equal. This time, everyone understood exactly who was in charge. Admiral, said Captain Jaehyun Shin, all the delegations have arrived. The council is ready to begin. Shunghwan nodded. Send them in. The main conference room of New Geneva was enormous. Representatives from 47 different alien species sat around a huge circular table. At the head of the table sat the humans. Admiral O was there along with Dr. Sun-Hee Bae, who had been chosen as humanity's first Galactic Relations Director. The first to speak was Keith Yari, who now led what remained of the Velkari people. Her eyesight had been restored by human medicine, but she looked much older than she had 6 months ago. Leading a defeated people was hard work. Admiral O, she said, on behalf of all Velkari, I want to thank you again for your mercy. Our people are rebuilding their lives under human protection. Crime is down, food production is up, and our children are learning to live in peace with their neighbors. Seung-hwan nodded politely. How are the integration programs going? Better than expected. Many young Velkari are asking to join the new peacekeeping fleet. They want to help maintain order in the galaxy instead of causing chaos. This was true. Captain Shin's peacekeeping fleet now included ships and crews from dozens of different species. Former Velkari warriors worked alongside humans, Rothek, and others to keep the peace between different alien governments. It was strange to see, but it worked. Chancellor Morvek of the old Galactic Council spoke next. He was a tall, thin creature with blue skin and large eyes. Admiral, the refugee situation in the former Methek territory is improving. The humans who are managing the relief efforts report that most of the displaced populations have been resettled. Dr. Bae leaned forward. What about the industrial facilities? Are they producing enough food and medical supplies? Yes, Doctor. Production is actually higher than it was under Velkari rule. The workers seem more motivated when they are not afraid of being executed for small mistakes. This brought a few laughs from around the table. The Velkari had been harsh rulers, and many species were happier under human protection. Pictel, now representing the Rothek Union, raised a tentacle. Admiral, my government has a question about the new trade regulations. Go ahead. Under the Terran Doctrine, all trade between star systems must be approved by human authorities. Some of our merchants are worried that this will slow down business, Dr. Bae answered this one. Captain Pictel, the approval process usually takes less than 1 day. We only stop trade in weapons, illegal drugs, and anything that could be used to make weapons of mass destruction. Normal trade in food, manufactured goods, and raw materials is always approved quickly. And what about cultural exchanges? Asked Ambassador Felnoon of the Grayan survivors. Some of our young people want to study at human universities. All educational exchanges are encouraged, Dr. Bay said with a smile. We want different species to learn from each other. The more aliens understand about humans and the more humans understand about aliens, the less likely we are to have misunderstandings that lead to war. This was the heart of the new system. The humans had not conquered the galaxy in the traditional sense. They had not enslaved other species or stolen their resources. Instead, they had created a new kind of order based on protection and cooperation. Any species that followed the Terran doctrine was welcome to trade freely, govern itself, and live in peace. The doctrine had only a few simple rules: no unprovoked attacks on other species, no development of planet-killing weapons, no slavery or genocide, all trade disputes to be settled through negotiation, not violence. Any species that requested human protection would receive it. Most alien governments had agreed to follow these rules immediately. A few had tried to resist, but they quickly learned that resistance was pointless. The humans had too many ships, too many weapons, and too much information about everyone else. But the humans were not cruel rulers. They genuinely seemed to want peace and prosperity for everyone. Species that cooperated found their lives getting better. Food was more plentiful, crime was down, and trade was booming. There is one more matter to discuss, Admiral O said. We have detected several new alien civilizations in the outer galaxy. Some of them are still in the early stages of spaceflight. The room got quiet. This was always a sensitive topic. How should advanced civilizations treat primitive ones? Dr. Bay will be leading a team to make first contact with these new species, Admiral O continued. As always, our policy is to approach peacefully and offer friendship. But we will also make it clear that aggressive behavior will not be tolerated. Ambassador Heron Moon, one of the human diplomatic corps, stood up. If I may, Admiral, I would like to volunteer for one of these first contact missions. Granted. Which species are you interested in? The ones in the Kepler 186 system. Our long-range sensors indicate that they have just developed faster-than-light travel. They are probably very excited about exploring the galaxy. Dr. Bay nodded. Good choice. But remember the protocol. Approach slowly, demonstrate peaceful intentions, and give them time to understand the situation before explaining the rules. Heron smiled. Of course, though I suspect they will be happy to learn that the galaxy is a safe place now. This was probably true. The new species would find a galaxy very different from the one that had existed just 6 months ago. Instead of constant warfare between different empires, there was peace enforced by human power. Instead of the strong preying on the weak, there was protection for anyone who asked for it. Not everyone was happy with the new system, of course. Some alien leaders missed the old days when they could solve problems with violence. Some military officers felt useless now that their fleets had been reduced to patrol ships and rescue vessels. But most ordinary aliens were much happier. They could travel between star systems without fear of pirates or raiders. They could trade with distant species without worrying about their cargo being stolen. Their children could grow up without the constant threat of war. As the council session ended, Admiral O walked to the observation deck of New Geneva. Through the transparent walls, he could see ships from dozens of different species working together. Human engineers were helping Rothek crews repair their vessels. Velkari scientists were sharing their knowledge of crystal technology with anyone who wanted to learn. Former enemies were becoming friends. Dr. Bay joined him at the window. Do you think it will last? The peace, probably. Most species seem to prefer prosperity to warfare, and we have made it very clear what happens to anyone who chooses violence. I meant the system we have created, humanity as the protectors of the galaxy. Will we be able to handle that responsibility? Seungwon thought about this for a long time. I do not know. But I do know that we are better at it than the Velkari were. We do not rule through fear. We rule through strength combined with mercy. And if someday another species becomes strong enough to challenge us, then we will deal with that when it happens. But for now, the galaxy is peaceful and prosperous. That is enough. As they watched, a new ship appeared at the edge of the system. It was small and primitive looking, clearly built by a species that had just learned to travel between stars. A young civilization taking its first steps into the larger galaxy. Should we intercept them? Dr. Bay asked. No. Let them explore for a while. When they are ready, they will find us. And when they do, We will offer them the same choice we offer everyone else. The choice was simple, really. Join the new galactic community and enjoy its protection and prosperity, or reject it and face the consequences that the Velkari had faced. Most species chose wisely. In the 6 months since the Velkari War, only 2 species had chosen poorly. The Varnick Collective had tried to continue their practice of enslaving primitive species. They had been quickly defeated and their leaders imprisoned. The Corvex Empire had attempted to develop biological weapons similar to the ones humans used. Their research facilities had been destroyed, and their government had been replaced with one more interested in peaceful cooperation. Both species were now peaceful members of the galactic community. Their people were happier and more prosperous than they had been under their old governments. As Admiral O watched the new ship approach, he thought about the message that would eventually be delivered to its crew. Ambassador Moon or someone like her would board their vessel and explain how the galaxy worked now. She would tell them about the Terran doctrine and offer them humanity's protection. And she would end with the same warning that was given to every new species. We come in peace. We offer knowledge, protection, and friendship. Choose wisely. Others have learned the cost of choosing poorly,